Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Amateur Repair Time. I have another record player here that we're going to mess with today, test it and fix it, hopefully, if it needs fixing. And then I'm going to try to sell it. If you don't know, I have a store in Rock Hill, South Carolina, where I sell video games and arcade games, pinball machines, jukeboxes, stuff like that. And I just love old stuff, right? So I pick up stuff like this at the flea market from time to time. So I don't know where I got this one. I don't remember. But the record player thing is getting a little out of hand. Now, if you've been paying attention, I've done several videos where I attempt to fix record players. Now, this is amateur repair time. Remember that. I'm not an expert. But I'm trying to learn about them. And the way I learn the best is by jumping in there and seeing what I find out whenever I take the thing apart. This is a record player that's in just kind of a cheap little cardboard box, but my whole life I've loved these things. Well, I pick them up all the time, and the number keeps getting higher. I just counted 5 minutes ago. I have 47 record players. Now, I don't know how they're multiplying. I haven't brought home 47 record players that I remember. But yet they're here. So I don't know. So what I'm trying to do is fix some of them and then sell them, right? So in my store, I can sell vintage stuff like this pretty well, actually. I've sold several of them there before. So I have 47 after I've sold several. So just so you know. And I'm not bragging. None of them are really worth anything. I'm just saying it's getting out of hand, right? So this is just a little cheapo, I guess. I was born in 78. And this is older than that, I believe. So when I was a kid, I didn't really have one like this. Oh, wow. It's got those weird security bits on it again. I think I made a bit for that, but I don't remember if I've got it. That was the Fisher-Price bit. We'll get to that in a minute. I think I might still have it here somewhere. I was born in 78, so I didn't really have one of these or anything like this when I was a kid. I did have eventually like a more standard kind of all-in-one that had a radio and a record player and all that in it. And so I got my first records probably 88, something like that was whenever I figured out about records. And by then, of course, they were old news. So I'm fascinated by them, but I don't know that much about them. I do have tons of records, though, too, obviously. So let's see what this one even is. It says, caution, electrically operated product, 110, 120 volt AC only, 60 hertz, 25 watts. So that's not even a quarter amp, I guess. UL listing, to prevent dangerous electric shot, do not remove this cover. No user serviceable parts are inside. Well, I'll be the judge of that. Refer servicing to qualified service personnel. There's none around. The only qualified service personnel I know is Radio TV Phono Nut, and he's not accepting. He wouldn't let me mail this to him to fix. So let's see here. Teletone. That's why I bought it. It looks cool. I will say I turned one of these down at the flea market earlier today. It was a calophone, and I had one just like it. I had one that looks just like it. So I didn't even ask the guy what he wanted because I knew I had a whole bunch of them, and I thought, I need to go home and fix one of the ones that I have. Look at it ruining the needle as we speak. I need to go home and fix some of those ones I've got. I'm not going to buy another one, so I left it sitting there. I might go back tomorrow and look. Look, if it's cheap, I might get it. I don't know. So it's a Teletone. That should be like that. So I ran into this problem before. I was working on some of the Fisher-Price ones. That's this weird kind of backwards security bit. It's hard to take out. They make a bit for it, but the guy that sells it wants like $50 for the bit. So you can do it with an ink pen, and I think I ground down like I had Joey grind down, my brother grind down another bit that I had and made it kind of fit that. So those are hard to take out, and it appears that the reason they did that was because they didn't want you, they didn't want kids taking the thing apart, right? Because they might get electrokilled. All right, the other thing that I don't like is it's not in neutral. Somebody left it on 33 speed, which is bad. If they leave it in neutral, that disengages the idler wheel from the motor shaft. So since the idler wheel has been engaged with the motor shaft for probably 40 years or 50 years, it's probably got a dent on the idler wheel, which means whenever you play it, it's going to have a little warble in it. If we can get it sounding pretty good, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. Finding a Teletone idler wheel is probably not going to be easy. So the cord seems just fine. You know, this is whenever you're talking about these plastic cords, you get the opportunity to use a word that you can't use very often. But the way to describe the way you want the cord is supple. It's a very supple cord. It doesn't feel dry. It's flexible. It's kind of like, you know, it's rubber. That's how it should feel. It's supple. All right, so it's actually on. Let's turn her off. And let's take it off 33 and put it in neutral. And I already checked it could go to 45. So in neutral, I can spin it around. There must be a clip on the bottom or something. Well, I don't know. Oh, there's probably a clip under here. Or maybe not. We won't worry about it for now. Oh, but we're going in there. Don't worry about it. The reason I grabbed this one off the stack, and there is a stack, is because it looks like it's got a ceramic cartridge. Not like those crystal cartridges we had so much trouble with last time. This one's a little newer, so this is probably from the 70s or maybe even the early 80s. I don't know. I'm going to guess 1976. What do you think? So it has a more traditional ceramic, well, more modern, I guess, ceramic cartridge, or I guess that's a ceramic cartridge. It's probably not a crystal. I don't think they were still making them in the 70s. So in other words, the crystal cartridges over time, they absorb water or something and they screw up, they stop working. Ceramic cartridges usually don't do that. Sometimes they do, and sometimes the you know, you've got the needles all screwed up, like whenever I was just scraping it across the turntable. But yeah, so I guess we'll plug it up and see if the turntable motor will turn. And then if that'll happen, we'll see if we can get any kind of volume out of the cartridge. And if we get everything working, we might recap it just so it's reliable and I can sell it in my store and feel good about it. So my prediction is the motor will turn fine, although there will be a bump on the idler wheel, and the cartridge will work fine, although there will be a bunch of static in the volume knob. I'm an optimist, people. I bet this thing works just fine. That's my thoughts. Okay, so we'll do it live. If I catch anything on fire, and I truly don't know if this thing works. I never test them like at the flea market or anything. I just buy them. And I don't buy them if they're expensive. There's no way I paid more than like $5 for this thing. Okay, so we got it on neutral. I'm gonna turn it on. We'll see if anything blows up. I've got immediate amplification because it's not a tube one. And I can hear the motor. Yep, that cartridge works just fine. Let's put her in gear. There she goes. Boy, it's noisy as hell. You hear that? And you hear the boom, 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 boom from the dent in the freaking idler wheel. Okay, well, let's pop a record on it. I'll try to get something weird as hell, and maybe YouTube won't know what it is, and it'll let you listen to it. All right, I got a weird one. I'm not even going to tell you what it is because I don't want anybody to screw me up here. I want to have some stuff that I can play without having to pay, if you know what I mean. God, it's incredibly loud. What in the world? I told you it'd be weird. Good God. This is the worst sounding record player I've ever heard. Okay, let me get something that's at least a pop song so we can tell if it's the right speed. All right, so some of this symphonic music you can't play on YouTube either because the actual the song is public domain, but the actual recording is not public domain. But I have a local one here. There's no way in hell YouTube knows who did this one. And they're not going to split the money with Beethoven. You know that's not going to happen. Yeah, we're a little off. All right, so we're going to have to mess with that motor a little bit. I can just see the viewers, the subscribers racking up on this video. Okay, so this little piece I was carefully able to remove. If you look, there's little clips. Boy, that'd be great, the 3D print. Finally, something we can use a 3D printer for. But I don't need one. Also, these could be 3D printed. Matt, get on it. So whenever you remove that, see how they designed it so that you can turn it a certain way and pop it out? And then there's some kind of little clip in there that's holding it on that, I guess. So that whenever you pick it up, it's like, that's all that's hitting it. So I think I can move that out of the way and it'll come right off, I think. Yes, I was just able to do that. Slide it apart and it just popped right up. All right, so I'm going to show you something that's like a horror film, okay? So if you're queasy, don't look. I warned you. Where is it? Is that it? It's not that bad, is it? guess that's it. That's the bump that we're hearing. Let's see if we can get close in on it. Yep, so that's the bump maybe. Maybe that. I think it's that right there. So the knock we're hearing, I think that's it. Well, I got something for that. What do you think? So that's with it engaged. That's with it at neutral. I guess it's not quite engaged at neutral. So that's at neutral, it doesn't quite touch. At 33, it's up there. And at 45, it's down there. And someone gave me their hair for free. I'm going to just imagine it was a girl. Okay, so what I've done is, this is fantastic stuff. Rubber Renew. This stuff, it's the best smelling stuff you're ever going to find on anything, but what it does is it softens rubber. It doesn't really make it brand new again, but it makes it better, right? So if you've got a hardened idler wheel, if you rub that on it a little bit, it helps. It doesn't make it perfect, but it helps. And then the other thing I did, you're going to love this. Oh, some of you are going to just lose your crap. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going to be able to get that idler wheel anywhere, right? So even if I wanted to spend the $50 somebody would want for that, for this $15 record player, I can't because nobody's going to make that, okay? So what I did was I took a file and I made the divot go away. Yeah, that's right. I filed the divot off. You'll be all right. I know you're catching your vapors right now. It'll be all right. Sniff some Rubber Renew. If you know about that, then you probably got Rubber Renew. Go get a little sniff of it. Anybody that has it knows that's the best smelling stuff ever. Okay, so let's see if the divot is completely gone or if it's reduced at least, right? So I'm going to turn it around and we'll see if we can find it again. You just saw it. Maybe we can tell where I did what I did. Is that it? Maybe. Now, if you do this, you run the risk of putting a warble in it. But folks, that might be it there. Right there. Folks, you know, this thing is not perfect anyway. It's just a cheapo kiddie record player, but it's not really for kids necessarily, but it's just a cheapo record player. Okay, and it's not going to affect the speed, believe it or not. The physics of it, you know, that turns this and the motor turns this. If that still touches both, right? So if it's a situation where now it's too small where it can't touch that and this at the same time, which I don't think is true because of the spring, then yeah, it would slow down the record player by shaving off a little bit of the outside of the ring. But if it still touches both, which the spring should ensure that it does, the middle wheel, the size of it doesn't matter, believe it or not. It has nothing to do with the RPM. Look it up. So that's what we're going to attempt to do. Now, who knows if that's going to work? And don't try it on yours. I don't know what I'm talking about. This is amateur repair time. Okay, so I'm also going to put a little bit of zoom spout oil on here and down the shaft into the motor and around here just to keep everything nice and greasy. And on maybe these pivots, just a little bit, just so everything's oiled up good. And then we're going to try it again and see if that gets our speed right, and see if we get rid of a little bit at least of that dunk, 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 dunk that we had going on. All right, so let's see if that fixed anything or if I broke it where it won't even turn now. Worse or better? Or the same? I'm trying to decide if that's even what it is. Let me take this back off and we'll just watch it without this on there and see if we can tell if it's the idler wheel. It's definitely still the idler wheel. I'm gonna make a mark on it just so we can tell for sure. So there's a little bit of the divot still there. So when the arrow gets to that, it's making it jump, and that's the noise you're hearing. So I'm gonna try to get rid of a little bit more of it. All right, I'll show you what it's doing. The divot is actually gone, but since I have, basically sanded it away at that point, when it comes past that point and it hits the thicker wheel just past that a little bit, it's kind of making a bump. So it's not as extreme as it was, but since it's out of round, it's still doing it. If you were able to shave the whole thing down perfectly all the way around, I don't think it would do it at all. Let's see if I can show you like in slow-mo. Okay, so the arrow is where the divot was. So I'm pushing it against the motor, which is basically what this platter is going to do. Okay, now when I get near it, you'll see where I've started shaving it away. So see, now we're in the lower spot that I shaved away, and then bump, that's the bump right there. So I'll shave a little bit of that away. Well, I put it all back together. I think it's moving too slow. We should be able to tell this is a famous record. No, that's right. Okay, let's move it forward so that we don't get a copyright strike. That's strange that I cued it to the exact spot that it was earlier in the song. And then did it 3 times. Now, how is that possible? You know this song. How is it possible that I played... Now, you just saw me do it, okay? I played the beginning of the song. It sounds like this. And then I picked it up and moved it forward so that we would get some singing or something, and we could tell if her voice is in tune, so we could tell if the speed's right. When I dropped it in the middle of the record, it was at the very part of the record that does the little breakdown that sounds just like the beginning. Now, how's that possible? Okay, so then I went, oh, silly me. I put it in the wrong spot. So I picked it up and I moved it to the end. And I got all the way to the end where it breaks down again and does the exact same thing. How's that possible? It's because I got the magic hands. That's why. Okay, so I'm going to try it one more time. And this time, we're going to hit it in her verse. You keep lying when you ought to be truthing. And you keep losing. I think that's right. Gonna walk all over you. Okay, so it works. Let me see if I can find a 33 RPM record that's small. I tried putting a full-size 10-inch one on it, or 12-inch one on it, and it just slows the turntable down so much. And can you hear how noisy this thing is? Crazy noise. So it's a Teletone. It ought to called it like a Chevy 350 tone or something. You know, this thing is loud. I don't think there's anything I can do. It's just, it's got that dent in it. It was probably loud even before the dent. And you can't get that idler wheel anywhere. So I don't. So I mentioned I put the 12-inch one on. I don't know if I finished that thought. If you put a 12-inch record on it, the problem that you have, and I see that in these over and over again, is it slows the thing down. It actually just slows the turntable down, and so you get it might even stop it, or it's just way too slow. Just to my ear though, that sounded like that was in key, so I think it's the correct speed on the 45. So let me see if I can find a 33-inch that's one of the smaller ones, and that we can play on here. Also, if you put the 12-inch one on it, you can't get to the controls. It covers it, which kind of gives you the first clue that it wasn't really designed to play those big heavy ones, right? So you can't really play albums on this. It's not, the quality's not high enough. I've had someone contact me, it may be on next week's video, that is going to send me a brand new all-in-one or self-contained record player with a speaker in it that's brand new. And the thing looks like it's going to be a good one. So we'll see. That'll probably be next week's video. But let me see if I can find a 33. All right, I got a stack here. For those of you overseas, I think you got a lot more 33 records than we did. And I know that your 45s had the smaller hole in them. But so in the United States, all of our 45s had the big hole. And there's just not a ton of 33 7-inch records. It was kind of a novelty. There were EPs that were like that, but I don't have any, or I couldn't find any. So I found a bunch of kid records, but they're not songs that we're going to know. So I don't know. So I got a whole bunch of stuff here. I know this one's a 33 because it says it, but it's also one of those plastic records. It's not really the greatest thing to play on an actual record player, but then again, this one ain't the greatest. And then I've got these golden records. That's actually Bing Crosby. That might be a 33. Humpty Dumpty by Bing Crosby. Well, we'll try it. Let's see if it's a 33. Might be a 78. Okay, that's downright satanic. Yeah, so I think that's a 78 actually. All right, so that gets rid of all of those. The Story of the Two Kings. The Rock Candy Mountain. Man, I would have wanted to hear that one. A Merry, 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 Merry Christmas. The Happy Whistler. Once Upon a Dream from Walt Disney's Sleeping Beauty. Part 2. Hail to Princess Aurora. So all of these must be 78s. From Walt Disney, I Wonder. Okay, so these are actually bigger. I would assume these are definitely 78s. These are old too. It says, for perfect tone, use Columbia needles. Dixie. Earl Rogers tenor. Well, let's see. Let's see if 45 is quick enough. Or does it need to be quicker? Sounds right. It's 45. What the hell? What in the hell? I mean, I suppose it's a 78. I don't know. It sounded like the music was the right speed, but obviously the voice wasn't. So none of these are going to be either. That's why they're bigger, I guess. Mother Goose Songs, The Three Pigs. Let me see if I can find an exceptionally light 33. I mean, a really cheap one. That even though it's big, it'll play it.
Gonna be so easy for us to fall in love.
It's just the weight of the needle. When you put the needle on it, you can see it slow down. You just cannot play. I looked, I couldn't find a third. This was the actual lightest feeling 33 I could find. So it does not like the big 33s. I do not have any of the small 33s. So let's play another 45 that we've all heard. I think I've got some 33s at work. I'll try. I think it's fine. It just won't play the big ones. So let's tell me if this is the right speed. Oh, the thing fell.
You better draw back your bow and let your arrow go.
Yeah, so that's the correct speed. You can tell by the tone. It's the right tone, you know.
My lover's heart for me, nobody but me. Cupid, please hear my cry and let your...
It's off center now. This is not the highest quality record player ever, I don't think. I wouldn't say that I recommend this one. So I think it's fine for playing 45s. Let me see if I can find a 45 that I can play all the way through without it copyright striking me. All right, so if you don't know, YouTube has like the most advanced music recognition software in the world. And so if they catch you playing a song someone else owns the rights to, they take the rights to your entire video. And I don't want them to do that. So if you pick a song that's really obscure, they may have never done the paperwork or trained YouTube to recognize that song. YouTube may have never heard the song, right? Now, if it's like a strange version of the song, like you sing "Suspicious Minds" and you just sing your own version of it, or it's somebody else singing it, it can figure out that it's a cover song, and then they take half of the rights of your video. So we'll see if they've ever heard this one.
Our
That sounds horrible. I mean, we got a warble in it, and then it's just a crappy song. I mean, I'm pretty open-minded about most music, but that's just, god-awful. Okay, so I got another one here. I've heard this one before, so they may not like this one. So this may be the end of the video, folks. If it's the end of the video, it's been fun. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week. Leave your comments below. Hopefully it'll let me play this. It's a great song. It's not really a song. Well, I guess it's a song. We'll turn out the lights for this one. So hopefully the quality was lo-fi enough that they let that one go. So if they did, I hope you enjoyed it. All right, so there you are, folks. We will see you on the next video. I'm going to take this to my store and sell it and tell people that as long as it's a small record, you're good. We'll see you on the next one. Hope you enjoyed it.